chemical, radiological, biological, or nuclear terrorism. Do you know what to do? Are you prepared? Louisville's own Jason Ditzler is an ex-military survival specialist, biological detection specialist, and now common sense and low-income prepper, helping you learn what to do, and how to keep you and those you care about alive. And now, from Prepper World Headquarters, here's our host, Jason Ditzler.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jason Ditzler. And this, as always, is the Jason Ditzler Radio Show, a collection of video blogs dedicated to, well, just about anything related to preparedness, travel, anything that you might be interested in. One of the things I've been getting asked about quite a bit is the retirement or the impending retirement of the Boeing 747. And I've flown on the 74 a couple different times, and both times that I have, it's always been in the lower deck. I've never got to fly, quote-unquote, in the bubble. So, starting on Sunday, I spent the entire day at the airport trying to get a flight. Well, it's not as easy as one might think to fly in the bubble, especially when you fly standby. So, my day, all day on Sunday, was spent trying to get there. Monday, first thing, I got to fly out, and I got to Detroit at about 7 in the morning, and was actually able to fly out around 6:30 p.m. So this was actually made for a long day. So I first want to give a big thank you to the Detroit Freedom Center. Unfortunately, they don't have any radio productions that they've done, so I can't play their commercial. But what I will say is that if you're ever in Detroit, right across from A43, there is a box, the entrance to the Freedom Center. If you are current or former military, police, fire, EMS, go in there and enjoy some of the comforts from home. If you're not prior military, current military, or police, fire, EMS, then there's a little box out there that take donations. If you're ever in Detroit, feel free to drop them a donation. I'm sure they could really use it, and they'd really appreciate it. So, anyway, back to what I was saying. After 45 years of, we'll call it dedicated service, the end of the road is closer than ever for the transatlantic workhorse called the Boeing 747. Now, Boeing introduced the 747 January 22nd, 1970. Means it's over 45 years old, like I said. Powered by 4 GE CF650 turbofan engines producing a massive 61.5 thousand pounds of thrust each at full power. Now, like many things made by man, it's now becoming obsolete, a fate that Boeing engineers were convinced would occur before the first 500 were delivered. And now with over 1,500 have been delivered, it's now just coming to an end of its passenger life, replaced by larger aircraft such as the 777 or the Airbus A380. And even though its passenger days draw closer to an end, the cargo configuration is still stronger than ever. With a maximum payload of more than 248,000 pounds and a 10-foot high ceiling, the cargo-configured 747 is a very versatile aircraft. Now, one pilot I spoke with says he loves flying the 747 and will hate to see the aircraft with so much personality retired. Coming home from Paris, I was treated to the Delta One experience in the bubble. I finally got up there. And as with most people, like I said, this is a coveted place on board the 747. As you walk up the steps, you're treated to a glass of French champagne. Like I said, we were in France. A thick blanket. Let me pull this up here. This, shh, don't tell anyone. This right here, where are you? Is the Weston Heavenly in-flight blanket, comforter. If you fly down below into something other than the Delta One experience, then you get, well, that. It's, hello, see-through. That's what it is. It's see-through. You even get a real pillow. A comfort kit that includes tissues, toothbrush, socks, little eye shade, lip balm, body lotion, mouthwash, and even, yes, Crest toothpaste. It's great. The dinner service starts soon after takeoff and starts with a caprese salad with basil-infused olive oil and cream of asparagus soup. The bar serves a Delta Sunrise cocktail, which is just Bombay Sapphire Gin, cranberry apple juice, and ginger ale. Really good, though. And the main entree, at least for me, was the duck confit, which I'm not a huge fan of duck, but this was actually pretty good. This came with peas that, you know, again, not most elegant of peas. You know, you can't really make that too fancy. And a spicy tomato sauce. Dessert, vanilla sundae with warm chocolate chip cookie, and even drizzled with a little bit of caramel, as they say. And as I got closer to the destination, then was even treated with a pork Cuban sandwich, which, you know, honestly, that's just way too much, you know, fun. Where else are you going to get that? But I got to Paris, and as I got there, went to the duty-free store, and I've always wanted to purchase duty-free. And so taking with me a grand total of $21 for a 2-day transatlantic, or we'll call it a 2-day double transatlantic flight. Then figured I'd take something and have a little bit of fun. So, okay, well, obviously, Cortana wanted to have a little bit of fun too, because she just popped up. So that is, that's that. Anyway, so I get to Paris and go into the duty-free store, and I buy this, which I don't know if you can read that, but it's not the most expensive wine in the world, but it is a French red wine. So I figured that might be a good idea because, like I said, not the most expensive. That's right in my price range. Well, go to the little store across, and I pick up a little jar. Again, probably can't see it. It is a mango peach fruit spread. I promised somebody that I would bring them back something from Paris. And yeah, sorry, but that was €3, and once again, right up my alley. And then a tiny little bottle of balsamic vinaigrette, even in French. So, I get back to Detroit. I flew out of Detroit and right back into Detroit. So, as I'm landing in Detroit, I get into the customs area. Everything goes fine. Walk through. Get to the TSA. And they go, boop, boop, boop. Sir, is this your bag? Yep, it is. Sir, you have a bottle of wine in your bag. Yep, I do. Bought it duty free. Oh, well, sir, they put it in the wrong bag. I said, well, it's sealed with the receipt. It has to be in a sealed bag with a receipt from within the last 48 hours, and blah, 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 all this stupid stuff. Okay? So it's in a sealed bag. It's got the receipt in it, blah, 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 blah. It has a European Union seal on it, not the TSA seal. Therefore, I was given two choices. You can either A, turn it in and it will be destroyed. B, you can sit here and drink it. Well, anybody who knows me knows that I really don't drink, except for the Delta Sunrise. And yeah, an entire bottle of wine, I would probably be throwing up the entire trip home. So I went back to the Delta counter, which thankfully is right there by TSA, and I said, what are my other options? I said, let's check it. Cool. So put everything in a box, help me pack it up, checked it. They accidentally checked it. Accidentally, with my help, checked it to the Netherlands. So I went upstairs and got onto a plane. And yeah, so here comes the second part of that story. But with that being said, anyway, many people ask what I do when I fly, and many people, especially customs, want to know why I fly so often, especially for just a one-day trip. And I'll answer the latter part first, and that is I fly so often for day trips because I can fly for free, and I don't have the money for a hotel. So, you see, I'm more of a freegan. A person who will try almost anything if it's free. Because, in short, free beats expensive any day. And as to what I do, therein lies the story. When I flew to London, it was for the sole purpose of learning the quote-unquote proper way to drink tea. And that is, of course, with milk and sugar. London, I had a 4-hour layover to learn all I could about tea. Paris was a mad dash of only 2 hours to learn about wine and, of course, bring home a bottle. I even flew in and out on the same plane. Now, Madrid, there was 4 days of intense study of ham. I won't lie, that trip was more for pleasure. As was the trip not even 18 hours after leaving for Paris. You see, 17 hours, 45 minutes after I left for Paris, I walked up to the exact same gate that I had left 17 hours and 45 minutes before and boarded an A330 for the Netherlands. Amsterdam, to be precise, and no, not for the reason that you may think. I don't do drugs, and I consider marijuana a drug. I'm sorry if you smoke. I don't. I went to walk the streets and ride the rivers of this friendly place. And even though you may think Amsterdam is all about the red light district and the coffee houses, and while this is part of the city, it's actually full of history and beauty. I stayed all day while walking with a military rucksack on my back, and it seems everywhere I stopped, one or two things jumped in. You see, the Netherlands are famous for cheese, mostly different styles of Gouda. I gave away a horseshoe from Churchill Downs and was given a set of house slippers that look like clogs that I'm wearing right now, actually. Glad the smell can't jump through the camera there. I did purchase cheese, 4 various wheels of Gouda, and flew home on a Boeing 767, although I was kind of cramped into economy. But while I was there, I picked up a little bar of marzipan, and to make sure I didn't kill anybody, a box of peppermints. Oh, I'm sorry, you must have thought I was talking about something else. I was talking about my breath. And, just in case I got hungry, 2 little tins of cookies. That's me. That's what I do. I go there to meet people. And on the trip to, I believe it was Paris, could have been Amsterdam, probably Amsterdam, talk with a guy, Mark. I won't say his last name, but Mark lives in Dayton, and drives an Audi. And we had a very long conversation. He was one of the flight attendants who was working our flight. And we had a very long conversation about Audi and his uncle that lives in Louisville. And him living off of Johnsontown Road, actually. And I said, well, I know where that is. I live off of Dixie Highway. They said, oh, I know where Dixie Highway is. I used to go to the A&W Root Beer all the way down south on Dixie. And I said, well, then you probably passed where I live now. They said, well, is that where you grew up? And I said, no. I grew up in Champaign, Illinois. He goes, oh, the Fighting Illini. I used to go to the College of Dance there at the University of Illinois. Or didn't go there, but he competed there. So we actually talked pretty much the entire trip. Imagine that. Jason talking to people. Almost can't believe that. So, here's the thing. If you get the chance to travel, take it. there's one thing that travel will help you do, and that is people all over the world are in the same boat. I will tell you that they all have families. They all have money troubles. They all have a longing to belong. And that's exactly what you see when you travel. Today, with a couple of pictures from the trip, and I hope it encourages you to travel more. If it doesn't encourage you to fly, then drive. If it doesn't encourage you to travel at all, I hope it encourages you to talk to somebody that you don't know. Open up. There are you with a couple of pictures from this trip. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Jason Ditzler. Be safe. Here's the roof. A little bit of cup of soup that I got. Me drinking my champagne. More drinking champagne. Food. Food. Flying the engines of the 747. Me over Michigan. The Royal Zoo of Amsterdam. And Wheels on the Ground.